What's up, guys? As you can see, my water is outside in the rain. It's raining here. Now we'll go inside and see the chickies and I'll explain why. Alright guys, here's a first look at them. They're slightly 3.5 weeks old here now at this point. Right guys? You guys are getting big. So far they're doing great. As I was saying, the water I used to have here. Now the problem I was having with it was when these guys were drinking out of it. They were only drinking out of the one spigot, and they would all kind of pick at it at the same time. And what was happening is more water was coming out and dumping in the bottom of my pan here than they were getting. So it was coming down in the morning, and half of the you know, this little tote was covered in water. And I tried stirring it up a few times and you know, trying to displace it. I was adding more stuff, trying to take care of it that way. It just wasn't working. So I think that would be better suitable for outside in the cage where the water is, you know, draining in the dirt, and it would just go and, you know, evaporate, you know, or just go on the ground. Where here it's draining into a plastic tub, and so that wasn't working. I had to take that off. Also, I got picked this up off Amazon here. It's an infrared heater. This gets hot too, boy. It's 150 watts, and I'll turn this light off there. As you can see, it eliminates no light at all. And you can also hear the chicks. They just stopped chirping. So like, how did it go from daytime to nighttime with that quick? So last night was my first night with it, and I will tell you, as soon as I put it in there and I turned the lights off, this one here in particular, and the lights in the basement, these guys all went right underneath it and went to sleep. I came in like an hour, 2 hours later to check on them. They were still sleeping. They slept the whole entire night. And they didn't get up until I got up this morning for work at 7 o'clock and came in and turned the light on. Then they all woke up. So let that be a lesson for anybody that gets these chicks and they use the heat lamps and whatnot. I think it'd probably be good for about a week, maybe, the heat lamps. Because the light is constantly on, but these guys constantly eat and drink with that light on 24 hours a day. They just keep eating and drinking, and they do, you know, they do lay down for a short amount of time, for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they're back up again. So I would think maybe for the first week the heat lamps would work good, because, you know, they were just born and you want to try to get the food in them and get them to start growing and, you know, stuff like that there. But I think after that, investing in one of these ceramic heaters and having a light in here, which I do during the day, and then at night turning the light off with any other lights on that are in the house. Mine are in my basement, so I just turn the basement lights off, and then they can get some sleep. Because what I was reading is, when you have the heat lamps and they're not getting enough sleep, and they're eating all that protein and everything that you're feeding them for them to grow, they actually will start having problems with their feet, where their feet will start growing at an angle, or they'll have a problem walking and whatnot, because they're not getting enough sleep, because basically their bodies aren't taking a break to digest the food, because they're not sleeping, they're constantly eating. So once I read about that and I seen some photos of what happens to them, that's why I decided to invest in this here infrared light. Well, it's not a light, but infrared heater. As you can see, it's 150 watts. If any of you guys do get chicks and you do get one, make sure you order this porcelain. This has got to be porcelain here for the light. You can't use that bulb in something like this, a regular brooder light. It'll melt all this plastic that's on here. So if you do get one, make sure you get the porcelain with the heat lamp. I think the lamp was $12.99 on Amazon, and the porcelain holder thing was like 15 bucks. They do have 150 watts, they have 300, 250, all that. I chose the 150, which is the lowest, because obviously these guys are getting big, and you know, the only thing they got really left to get is their feathers around their neck. So I'm going to probably only do the light here for another week or two. The heat lamp, that is. The light, I'm going to keep up with this light and turning it off at night, leaving it on during the day. So this way they can get their sleep and get everything they need to grow healthy, right? So that's that on the heat lamp. Now next, over here in their pen, I just ordered from Amazon this food dispenser thing that I have hanging from a string. I'll be able to use this out in their coop once they get outside. I'll be able to actually use this. You can see all the food I have in there. It goes right around. And then I got the water as well. Now I put that on a brick just to get it elevated off the ground because they kick a lot of stuff around. The only problem I'm having with this here water, and I don't know why, I just got these two last night from Amazon. They're not drinking out of this here water. I still have the little bowl that I've been giving them water in that's elevated in another bowl on the ground to keep it up a little. And when I got home from work today, it was completely empty. As you can see, he's going to drink out of it now. But they're not going for this here stainless steel water for some reason. Last night I got a couple of them and I dunked their heads in them like you do when you're a baby when you first, you know, put them in. And so, you know, at least 4 or 5 of them know there's water there. But for whatever reason, they're only drinking out of this little bowl here, as you can see. So I was going to try to take the bowl out. I think this weekend when I'm home on Saturday or Sunday when I'm home all day, I keep an eye on them. I'm going to take the bowl out and just see how they do with this, if they start using it or not. I mean, eventually they're going to have to start using it. I mean, it's not that high up off the ground. It's only on a, you know, 6-inch retaining wall cap. So it's not that high off the ground, you know. But for whatever reason, they're not using it. The other thing I did was I went and I upgraded to, I didn't upgrade, but I changed their bedding to the pine chips from the straw. I'm going to show you why. Here's my my counter here. Look at this. That's from the straw, from the dust. I mean, literally, very, very bad decision that I made to put the straw in. And I didn't do enough research on it. People were saying, oh, you can use the straw or you can use the pine chips. And when I went to the Tractor Supply, of course, the straw was a little cheaper than the pine chip. So, you know, I said, let me grab the straw. Well, now we know not to use the straw no more because it makes a mess. The shavings, they don't. So what I did was I went over everything. The straw, there's still some mixed in here and there, but I went over everything with the shavings, and then I completely cleaned their crate out with the straw. I completely took it out of there, and I put the chips in. So now the dust is, we don't have it no more, but obviously the damage is done. I have to clean the whole basement here and the tables and everything once these guys do go outside, because there is just dust everywhere. So outside of that, we covered the chips. That's very important. Don't use the straw if you're doing it inside. The food container, that's working really well. That's working really well. They're eating out of it. It holds a lot more food than this little thing here. And this little thing here worked good for about a week. I'd say the first week or so of their life. Maybe close to 2 weeks. But then after that, if anybody has any of these, you notice when you fill it up, you can fill this whole whole bottle right up, and when you dump it into this little thing, half the bottle's already empty. And I already tried taking it back apart to refill the bottle when that bottom base was already full. And I'll tell you what, trying to get that back screwed on without food going everywhere was a nightmare. I had this here that I was giving them. They still have food in it. This works really well. This works actually better than that, because it just has a couple snaps here. So you can see it's on hinges. It's on hinges, and it has a couple snaps in the front that you just snap open, and you can put the food in there. It's easy to feed them with that. Now the downside of that is they get up on top of it and they start shitting in their food. So that's not good either. That's why I had to put the rope. If you remember, I had the rope on this, and I had it hanging like this one, because that's what happens. They start shitting in there. So let's take another quick look at the guys, or the girls rather. Show you how big everybody's getting. We'll give them a little treat, and we'll give them a little treat. Come on, girls, you want a treat? Come on, chickies. As you can see, these guys get a little violent when it comes with food. Look at them. Right there, that is, those are crushed sunflower seeds that they're eating, that I crushed in my blender. Look at them. They're like, they love this stuff. And if any of you are wondering, they're poking if it's hurting. Yeah, it is starting to hurt a little bit. And now they're grabbing with their mouths open with the beak. So when they grab with their mouths open, you kind of get a little pinch. But they're pecking now. Really, it almost feels like a roofing nail if you start pecking yourself in the hand with a roofing nail over and over again. Because they peck pretty hard, I've noticed. But so far, it's tolerable. And I've been feeding them by hand like this. I started the first day that I got them out of the box. So they're used to being fed by hand, so they actually look forward to it. Now last night I took them all out. I clipped all their wings because they were flying really good. And what they do is they fly, not very high, but they fly into each other. And they kind of screw with each other, to be honest with you. These guys are starting to get a little bit of an attitude when it comes to their counterparts. They kind of peck each other. One was pecking one in the eyeball the other day, I noticed. So these guys definitely got a little attitude as they're getting older. But so far they're all doing good. As you can see, they're getting big. They got most of their feathers just around their neck. We're waiting for them to come in. And I think by the end of February I'm going to get them out in their coops. They should have enough on them. Even though temperatures are still going to be in the 30s at night, I think once they get their feathers, I'm going to put that heat lamp in there, and I think they should be good to go. All right, guys, you ate it all. So I was going to do a video on how to clip their feathers last night, but I was just in a rush for time, and I still don't have got to get a stand for. I'm only recording with my cell phone, so I have to get a stand that I could prop it up on to record. So the next time I do their feathers, I'll make a video on it. But there they are. I mean, they're getting big. A little over 3.5 weeks. I know another YouTuber just got himself 15 and a couple males. This is what yours are going to look like in about 3 weeks from now. As you can see, they got a lot of their feathers. Let's see if I get this. This is the biggest one here. This is the biggest one we got so far. He's, see if I can zoom out a little bit. As you can see, she's rather. I keep calling them all he's, but pretty much takes up my whole hand. And as you can see, she's fairly calm of me holding her and not trying to jump or anything. Because I've been taking them out. I've been holding them at least. I try to get them all at least once a day. Go ahead, buddy. I try to get them all at least once a day. What I have is I have a plastic thing here that I'll put over the hole when they're all in here, and I'll take them all out one at a time with my hand, and I'll just kind of hold them in my hand. Maybe I'll put them in the ground in the basement, let them walk around a minute or so, and then I'll put them over in their pen over here. and I'll do them all one at a time like that. This way I know I got each one, and I held each one, and I put them in. So I try to do that at least once a day, if I can. I'm hoping with doing that and feeding them by hand, when they do get older and I do need to handle them to get their wings clipped or for whatever reason, I'm hoping that it won't be, won't be too difficult of a task, and they won't be acting up too much because they'll be kind of used to me holding them since they were babies. So, alright guys, there they are. Zoom out a little bit. We still have all 13. There's one or two. There's one here. There's one or two that didn't get their tail feathers quite yet, and I'm not quite sure if, I mean, they're starting to come in now. Look, they're trying to eat my finger. I think my finger's a worm. But there's one or two that their tail feathers aren't coming out. They're coming out, like this one here. You can see that it's kind of short and stubby, where these other ones, they actually have tail feathers. He's still trying to eat my finger. So maybe maybe the one or two just isn't eating as much as these other ones, or what I was thinking is they might have had two batches of these birds when they hatched them, and the other one or two might be a day or so older behind the other ones that are getting bigger. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm not 100% sure. At any rate, we still have all 13, and I don't think we're going to have any more casualties at this point. They're all doing good. They're all getting big. And yeah, so definitely anybody doing this, I would invest in one of these here infrared heat lamps that don't give off light. I was amazed last night, completely amazed, when I turned the lights off and I came in and they just were all sleeping. And I came down in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, they were all still sleeping in the same spot, and I turned the lights on and they started getting up one by one. So I would imagine last night was the first night of full sleep that these guys had in the whole 3.5 weeks I had them, because I've been using these heat lamps. And with the light, they're constantly up, they're not sleeping, which isn't good for their immune system. It's not good for their growth. And from what I've been reading, it can really screw up their feet and everything. And obviously, as you know, if their feet get screwed up, they're pretty much done. So, alright guys, that's it. We'll give you another update, another week or so, and these guys get bigger, and hopefully I have a little tripod for my phone. And when it comes time to clip their wings, I'll be able to show you how that's done. It's kind of very easy. But alright guys, have a good one. We'll see you.